Good evening, beautiful beings of light. Welcome to the Crone Zone Conversations with the Ancients. My name's Priscilla, and this is my buddy Heather. And I don't know what that was that we had issues. It said it was streaming on Facebook. Fine. So nice of you to tell me. Doesn't matter. How are you, Miss Heather?
Mine's supposed to be on both.
Yours is fine. You didn't get the message.
Oh, okay.
It happens every now and then. Don't worry about it. Hey, Miss Akila. How are you tonight? Welcome, everybody. I'm excited for this. She's given me a little taste behind the scenes. It's fascinating. Just fascinating. Really exciting. Oh, my goodness. How was your weekend? Did you have a good weekend? It's starting to get chilly up here.
It's beginning to get chilly here. I actually had to turn my fireplace on, and the heater has come on several times. Wow. It's set for 70, so if it's come on, you know it's below 70. So.
Akila says, I can't wait to hear what Heather found out. Me too.
It was kind of.
Oh, Akila, I love that picture of you. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's really lovely. Shows your light.
Yeah.
Lovely picture. Okay, for those of you guys that are new to this channel, my name's Priscilla. This is my buddy Heather. We started it almost 3 years ago. Come February, it'll be 3 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. As our guides were pushing us to do so. So it's all about our experiences on our spiritual journey. And we're sharing our journey with you all. We hope you enjoy it. We hope you learn from it, laugh from it, cry from it, because I certainly have on many occasions. But don't judge. Just take what resonates and leave the rest.
Yeah.
We're crones. We're going to tell you how we see things through our lens.
Right.
Your fine. You do you, boo. Exactly. Right? But thanks for being here, and we hope that you'll have a good time and enjoy the experiences. And I love Heather's doing remote views. It's one of my favorite things. So I'm just a little bit jelly that I don't do it, but that's okay.
That's okay. You do things I can't.
Yeah, you.
Exactly. So everything works out.
It does indeed. I know you've thrown some cards for the show tonight. What do you have? What did you find?
Well, we are all trying to return to spirit. Yeah. And sometimes I was saying, how does this get in our way? The violet flame, how does it get in our way of returning to the spirit? And what they're saying is that we're depending on it too much.
Oh.
There's more to it. I mean, it isn't just turn it over to them and everything's fine. No, there's work we're supposed to do. So sometimes it's beautiful energy and what it can do gets in our way of progressing. Of course, at the same time, our spiritual selves are working with integrity. This is bright yellow in here. You just can't really tell. And, otherwise, kind of a brownish card. And our humans and who we are aware of, are three-dimensional beings. We're all trying to be worthy. Because we are trying to work our way back to the spirit. And they're saying, you guys are just being too tough on yourself, and you just think you need to depend on the violet flame. All you got to do is express your voice. Whether it's singing or talking or helping somebody else or journaling or whatever you do, if you paint, you do whatever it is that you do, just do it, because doing that will put you back in contact to do whatever you want to do to get back to spirit. It's
sweet.
So much easier than what we're making it. Don't depend.
We always make everything too hard, don't we? Awesome. Hey, Laurie. Heavenly blessed honey. Hello. So glad to have you ladies here tonight. As Heather and I talk about Easter Island, Rapa Nui, as it's actually called. Top right-hand corner is white. It's driving me nuts.
Right? You're not talking to me.
Yes, I'm talking to you.
I see you. Got
There
it.
you go. It's right in my field of vision.
Oh, it's because I moved it a little bit when I brought the book that I do all my writing on my remote viewing.
Right.
And I brought the book back.
Oh, I'm excited. So you guys know how this works. I tell you what the thinking is, the archaeological thinking is about a place. And once I give you what we've learned that way, which I find is never right. It's always
there's a reason for it, though. They're using what they know, but exactly right.
It's kind of funny that they all kind of spew the same line, and things are changing daily. Anyway, so once I get through telling you what the regular spiel is, which is fascinating in itself, actually, and the story behind the Moai, through ancestral knowledge. Heather's going to tell you what she found when she remote viewed. Now, Heather can contact her source as we're talking. And so you can ask questions, any questions you want. She can time travel back to when it was there and alive and active. And well, I'll let you explain that anyway, but
not a problem.
As we get down the road. But
if you have questions, do ask, because I can get the answers if I haven't already
immediately. Let me put up the little banner. Okay, where's Heather's banner? You have your very own banner.
And don't be afraid to ask any kind of question, because even one question can bring in a bunch of other information that comes.
Yeah.
So don't think there's no good question. It doesn't matter. Any question will stem more things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know you guys have all heard of Easter Island and the stone sentinels. So we're going to talk about the spiritual world of Easter Island and the Moai, which is what they call those sentinels. We'll be exploring the mystical and spiritual nature of Rapa Nui, aka Easter Island, and its iconic statues, followed by Heather's remote view. Easter Island is the most isolated inhabited island on Earth. Its native name, I love these, Tepitoa Tehinawa, I didn't butcher that too badly, is often translated as the navel of the world, hinting at its profound spiritual importance to its people. It's thought to have been colonized by Eastern Polynesians around 1200 CE. And soon after the settlement, the Rapa Nui began to build those colossal stone statues called Moai. You can see them on the beach there. They're enormous. This period, peaking between 1400 and 1600 CE, was driven by a powerful ancestor cult. The Moai, or the Arita Ora, meaning living faces, were carved to deify important ancestors, acting as vessels for their spiritual power or mana, to watch over and protect their descendants and ensure the fertility of the land. Nearly 900 Moai were carved from the volcanic quarry at Rano Raraku, transported miles across the island to ceremonial platforms called ahu. The Moai are not just statues. They were a direct link between the people and the divine. They embodied the most powerful ancestors. And once erected and given their eyes, they became a vessel for their ancestors' mana, a supernatural power that will watch over the village and ensure the fertility of the land and abundance of food. Each Moai stood on an ahu, which was the burial place for the individual the statue represented. The placement facing inland is key. The ancestors were turning their backs on the outside world, focusing their spiritual energy inward on their descendants and the land they depended on. The whole process of carving and raising the Moai was about accumulating and controlling mana. The red color of the pukao was often associated with high status and divinity, and the act of placing this enormous top knot on the head of the ancestor figure was the final critical step in activating its power. It's as big as his head almost. In Polynesian tradition, the head was the most sacred part of the body, a primary repository for mana. The pukeo likely represents the long red hair, a sign of mana for high-ranking chiefs, tied in a top knot. Nearly all 900 moai were carved from the volcanic tuff in the single quarry of Rano Raraku. Hundreds of moai in various stages of completion remain in situ. Some scholars theorize this abandonment was sudden, possibly due to ecological or political collapse. The mystery of how they moved a 14-ton statue miles across the island is one of the biggest questions people have. Rapa Nui legends say the Moai walked to their Ahu sites, and the answer is both ingenious engineering and spiritual symbolism. The statue's wide, D-shaped bases and forward lean allowed them to be rocked and walked upright in a zigzag motion using ropes. The act of walking the Moai was a living manifestation of the ancestors' mana, a monumental procession where the ancestors symbolically take their place watching over the clan. Imagine the spiritual significance of the people, watching their deified ancestor literally move across the land towards them. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
They now have videos on YouTube that show you how they did it. I think there was 8 people involved in it. And the way that the paths are, they're made specifically the width needed to walk them like that. So it would have been like a parade of your ancestors. Hey, sister, I'm glad you could make it. Hi, Mousy. Hi, Diane G. Leah. So during this period, the unique palm forests were depleted, largely due to land clearing for agriculture, wood for fires and tools, and potentially the activity of the Polynesian rat. Yuck. I think I can take this down for a second. The deforestation is often cited as a contributing factor to later society stress. As environmental and political tensions grew, a process that archaeologists debate whether it led to collapse before or after the Europeans arrived. The authority of the Riki, the hereditary chiefs, were tied to the Moai, and they began to weaken, and the Moai carvings ceased around 1650 CE. After the Moai period, an ecological crisis, the power of the ancestor cult began to decline. When the environment collapsed, the people believed their powerful ancestors, represented by the Moai, had failed them. So they turned to the creator god, Makemake. Put this one up. A new ideological system emerged, centered around the creator god, Makemake. The Birdman Cult, Tengata Manu, replaced hereditary rule with a ritual competition. An annual perilous race to retrieve the first sooty tern egg from the offshore islet of Rapa Nui. The winner's clan leader became the Tengata Manu, or the Birdman, a sacred figure who governed for the next year. And this cult was centered at the ceremonial village of Orongo. Interclan warfare intensified in the late pre-contact period. Clans deliberately toppled the Moai, deliberately toppled the Moai of their rivals. Act known as Huri Moai to destroy the enemy's ancestral mana. The overthrowing of the statues was an act of ultimate spiritual and political warfare. The monumental figures were a source of great pride and power. Toppling them was calculated effort to destroy the enemy clan's spiritual protection. Pretty intense. By the mid-19th century, nearly all the Moai had been overthrown. The first contact by the Europeans came in 1722 when a Dutch explorer, Jacob Roggeveen, was the first European to record sighting the island on Easter Island, thus the name. At this time, the population was estimated to be between 2 and 3,000. But the 1862-1863 time period was the most catastrophic period for the island's population. Peruvian slave traders, blackbirders, captured and abducted nearly half of the island's population, around 1,500 people, including the Tumuiviatu, the keepers of the cultural knowledge in the Rongoran script. The combination of the slave raids and subsequent epidemics reduced the population to a mere 111 people. Wow. That's sad. By 1877, nearly wiping out the Rapa Nui culture and people. In 1888, Chile officially annexed the island. And the modern Rapa Nui population is composed of the descendants of those 111 survivors, along with subsequent Chilean and other Polynesian migration. The culture today is a remarkable story of survival and revival after profound historical tragedy. Today, the people of Rapa Nui work to restore and honor these monumental ancestors, preserving their culture and spiritual heritage. The Moai are powerful spiritual monuments connecting people, ancestors, and the divine concept of mana. Recent archaeological finds concerning the Moai of Rapa Nui have focused on two main areas. New physical discoveries driven by environmental change. The lake in the crater has dried up. And new evidence supporting theories about the statue's creation and movement. They also did the rope testing and found out how they were walked. In February of 2023, a significant and unexpected discovery was made in the main Moai quarry, the Rano Raraku volcanic crater. A prolonged route caused the central freshwater lagoon of the Rano Raraku crater to completely dry up for the first time in centuries. Photo of that. A previously unknown Moai statue measuring approximately 1.6 meters or 5.2 feet long was discovered lying face up in the dried lakebed sediment. This is the first time a Moai has ever been documented inside the crater lagoon, suggesting that the ancient Rapa Nui attempted to move the statue when the lake was dry, or it was ritually placed there. The discovery is important for the indigenous Maui community, as even their ancestors had no oral tradition of a Moai existing there. Researchers are now using ground-penetrating radar to search the newly exposed mud, believing that many more Moai and carving tools could be hidden beneath the surface of the former lake bed. Ongoing excavations, particularly those led by Easter Island Statue Project in the inner Rano Raraku quarry, continue to uncover the fully buried torsos of the statues, providing new context to their purpose. Excavations reveal that the areas immediately around the standing Moai in the quarry were rich in essential nutrients and were used for growing crops like banana, taro, and sweet potato. This supports a theory that the Moai were not just ancestor figures, but were intentionally kept in the quarry because their presence there was believed to stimulate and ensure agricultural fertility. Excavations have also uncovered elaborate rock art and petroglyphs on the buried backs of some Moai, which had been protected from erosion. These carvings were applied after the statues were erected and partially buried, providing new insight to the ceremonial life and iconography, I can't say it, crescent motifs of the quarry area during the 16th and 17th centuries. I love that they're doing more, finding out more. So that is, let's see, is that sunset on the Moai? Isn't that a beautiful shot?
It is. And it's I keep remembering the shot of what it looked like when I was a kid in junior high, where they had only the heads.
Oh, yeah. That's how it was
They
when
did
I
not have
remember
the
too.
bodies at the time. All they had were the heads.
Mhm.
And that was, they used to talk about those. Of course, they've found things are different since then. But
Honey, that was like 50, 60 years ago. They've done quite a bit since we were kids.
oh yeah, oh
Thus
yeah,
the
there's a
name
whole lot.
prone.
And they're not completely wrong in some of the things they've come up with.
Okay, so now's the best part of the show. Heather's going to tell us what she discovered in her remote view. And remember, if you have questions, let me know because she'll go right in and she can ask them
Yeah,
real time.
and I may repeat some things because I ended up sitting down twice to write it down because I wasn't sure I'd remembered everything. So some of it, like here's one and here's the other one, and they're very similar, which tells me really that what I'm seeing was actually what I'm seeing because they're both the same.
Oh.
So anyway, these are all older than Atlantis and Lemuria. They were around before then, or
Wow.
at the same time.
The people
fact,
the people that lived on the island lived at the same time as those as Lemuria and Atlantis?
right? Because and actually, we call it Easter Island, but at that time it was not an island.
Oh, wow.
At that time, it was part of a continent.
And what
So
continent was that?
I have no idea. I didn't ask, and I don't understand when they start speaking in the different language.
Yeah, I can understand that.
um,
You tell them to please speak English?
they didn't speak English at all, but they did have visitors from Lemuria.
Okay.
But those were not their main visitors. Their main visitors were were alien,
From
and
where?
these were not small people. We would consider them giants. But giants as in 7 to 8 foot tall, not 10 to 12, but somewhere some would take. They were large people. They were fishermen. They were farmers. They were merchants. It was a regular, thriving
Community.
existence. They had villages where people went and traded goods and did whatever they needed. But you are right about the statues being there to protect them. Because, and I keep getting this picture in my head of, okay, there's that row of statues all facing whatever direction they're facing. Behind them, I keep seeing a spaceship
Oh, wow.
watching as well. So sending it with them. So
This is the main row of 15, and they face inward to protect the island, and so the ocean's behind them, not right
yeah,
next to it, but pretty close.
yeah, but it's close, but it's not
Mhm.
real close.
And that's where you see the spaceship? Interesting. Do we
Yeah,
know
they are above the water, but they are watching and taking care of things and doing what needs to be done. Each one of those statues represents somebody special. It's not just a matter of statue. This
is
is
it an
somebody.
ancestor?
This is somebody. This is somebody. This is somebody. And that's why there are some differences in them. That's why there are some height differences in them. They're all generally who they're supposed to be, but there are small differences.
But
That
when you say they are somebody, are you speaking ancestor or some kind of god or goddess? What exactly are you talking about?
ancestors, but some of those ancestors were actually alien.
Okay.
They came down and ruled, sort of, and had families and things, and so they continued. But
Do we know what specific alien type?
no, they didn't really tell me because, like I said, they did have some Lemurians come help. So, they did have people that visited, and they were placed where they were placed to, one, protect them. Having that tall of people there would, those who might think about invading would look at those statues and say, let's go find something. Yeah, let's
they were
find someplace easier, you know. And they were also used as like a lighthouse for those fishermen who were out to sea. They could see them.
From
so
far,
they wouldn't
far
get
away.
lost. They would come home because they knew where to go. So they served many purposes, but mostly, and even in being a lighthouse, they were protection. So, and they did have, as far as moving them, I'm saying, yeah, that makes sense the way that they figured out they moved them. But also remember, it only took 8 people to move them. They had knowledge of how to move those heavy things, just like the Egyptians did for their pyramids. They had the technology to move things more easily than we would ever do it because we don't have it. But they could move them quickly.
Like anti-gravity or things like that.
Yeah, so the 8 people could balance them easily. Can you imagine something that heavy being moved and not falling? Anyway, but they had skills. They knew how to do that, and that had been told to them.
By their alien visitors?
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, it was not originally an island. It was a big country, and they had different places. Let's see. They were more spiritual than not. You can tell that from the statues. They knew that they would be protected. So evidently they didn't think necessarily that whoever that was actually dead. They were just changed form and took care of them there.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And I remember being in junior high, there was so much more that was buried below. All we ever saw were the heads. Look, wasn't that cool? Why do you think there's heads there? Well, there was more than heads if they dug. And they did. They dug down and found that there were bodies. There were whole things.
Entire huge bodies.
Right. But look at how much, if all you had was the head, look how much dirt they had to remove.
Yeah.
In order to get down to the base. And the base is where they used to be. You know, that was ground zero for them, where it was. I was going to say they didn't stand alone originally. Even those that they find now that are alone, they were not alone originally. They represented. Go ahead.
I just looked it up. They're buried 30 feet deep. So you're telling me that ground zero is actually 30 feet down. If they dug 30 feet down across the island, they would find more stuff about the civilization that was there before. But they don't
deeper. Because remember, at that time, those were technically on a hillside so that they could look over everything. Mm-hmm. Which means they'd have to go even deeper to find everything else. Because I asked them, but yes, you just need to go on down further.
Well, I guess you could say that anywhere in the world because you think of how many layers there are in Rome and how many layers there are in London, even in the US, Chicago, and the cities that have the underground.
I remember going someplace, I can't remember, I don't remember where it was, but I had been somewhere and we went and there was the ruins. But underneath the ruins was another whole city.
Yeah.
So exactly. I remember being somewhere like that. So that doesn't make undue sense to me. But the reason why there's so much dirt there is that when Lemuria sank, it really upset the ocean. and it covered everything there, the whole country. It just covered everything. So a lot of that dirt is ocean silt, just all these different things that moved in. And the reason why, I was getting later on, that the reason why there was so much silt in there for them was to protect the statues. Otherwise, the movement of the water alone would have broken them.
Right.
This way, they were like packing them so that they remained. That's why they're still in such good shape, as they were kind of protected.
Who now, are you saying the ocean did that, or the people that lived there did that?
I'm saying the aliens did that when the ocean went crazy.
Okay. Okay, thank you for clarification. The
Yeah.
aliens did it. Alrighty.
Yeah, there were only a few of that civilization that was left.
Right.
And they were on the outskirts. Anybody who was in the center of the country, it didn't exist anymore.
Wow.
It was all ocean. And what was left was, when the ocean started to recede some, the only thing really left were the heads were standing up. Not huge hillside. I mean, the huge hillside was the rest of the statues.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
But it of course all took time. It's not like boom, it's there, and boom, it's not there. It all took time. But the covering with the water was fairly rapid.
Well, that makes sense, because I'm sure it was quite turbulent when it originally happened, because they are in the general area of where Atlantis was. Not Atlantis, Lemuria was.
Lemuria, yeah. So when Lemuria sank, all the water came up.
Yeah, I imagine that was horrible.
Just overran everything.
Mm-hmm.
But originally they did have cities and areas of commerce. Not nearly as advanced as Lemuria, but they did have some kind of civilized commerce going on. And they did rule themselves, although the aliens did help them set things up. But aliens were really good about that. I mean, every time we look at something, we said they came in and helped, and then they left everything to humans or whatever they were. Like I said,
they had to give us little pushes because we were too thick to figure it out.
Yeah, and get us started in the right direction and see what happens.
I guess so.
And this, also the statues were built not only to protect them, but also as a call for them to come back and help again.
Oh, that's interesting.
So
I like that.
And they were supposed to welcome them, because they knew they were overseeing it. That's why I said I keep seeing the spaceship behind them, looking with them over everything. So I don't know what they thought that was, but that's what I keep seeing.
Well, you would just have to face the fact that the aliens made us who we are, and they've been around since the dawn of time. It comes up in every civilization that we remote view, we go back to it. They're always there.
And like if you watch waves on sand, they bring the sand forth. They're moving that sand. They're moving dirt. And that's the reason why the dirt finally sifted in between them, because it gathered around them and packed them. So as everything started to recede, they just left dirt.
Wow.
So,
well, thank you, aliens, whoever you were.
Yeah, they really do usually have our they're not our enemies generally.
No, I think they seem to have our best interest at heart.
It seems that way.
Not all of them, I'm sure.
Let's see. Oh, and of course the statues were not nearly as smooth as they are now. The water did have softening, polishing effect.
That makes sense because they're lava. They would have been rough. I like this. Lauren says, I love the aspect at having them so the aliens would come back to help them. Yes,
yeah,
please.
that was part of it. Yeah,
Heavenly Blessed Honey has a question. Will the land the island was attached to ever be discovered, as in how it looked before?
No, because the ocean keeps moving. It will never go back. The land, even the land that we live on now, will look different. Not in our lifetime, but it will look different.
Will it ever be discovered that there was a landmass there?
They'll discover there was a civilization there.
Yes, that's what she's asking.
Yeah, they will discover that, but not for a long time yet. Those things have so much more meaning than what normal humans think.
Okay, well, tell us what the meaning is behind them.
Oh, what they can do to help.
That what?
They haven't lost the power, the feelings, and the
that was going to be questions. Are they still holding the energy of that?
Yes, yes, they are. And some of it was even magnified by the water.
Wow.
So as they come out, of course, and it's really weird. I'm getting this right now. The reasons the heads, everything was covered at one time for a very short time, like instantaneous cover and then drained off. But the reason the heads were allowed to resurface so quickly compared to the rest of it is because they did feel like the heads were the most important part. That's how they communicate.
That's where you hold your mana.
So,
wow. That's pretty cool.
They were saying, because I asked how big the people were, and they said we're giants compared to what we know now, but they weren't as big as the astral statues. But they were bigger than us.
Because the statues are massive, aren't they?
Yeah, the statues were made larger, but they still, the people who made them were very, very large. They were.
Will we ever find evidence of the people that built them?
Maybe. But finding it and recognizing it are two different things, is what I'm saying, getting.
Right. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, once they get a story in their heads, it's hard to change.
Yeah. Yeah. But the impression I get is, yes, they will find proof that there was a civilization there. Whether they really realized what was going on and how spiritual they actually were is another question, because they were very spiritual. Because you got to remember, they had the energy from Earth as well as the ocean. If they're saying that's all kind of like lava rock, that's Earth energy. So
yeah, that makes sense. We have another question. Laurie asked, it makes me wonder if they were Mu people. The Mus are giant Lemurians there, and they are back on Earth now.
I got a yes in my head, but I don't know. But as soon as you said, are they, and I'm saying, nah, they couldn't be. And they said, yes, they are. So I kept getting yes.
Good to know. And then I should say yes, like a map or picture they made from before. Yeah, she's looking to see if there's any evidence that's going to come that shows there was actually a continent and that Easter Island was part of it.
It may show it, but like I said, recognize it may be difficult. I was going to say it was a more male-dominated thing, but not nearly as male-dominated as it is now. Very, very democratic. It just happened that there were males that were holding position. Women had a lot of say about things. They were not possessions. Women did say a lot of things.
Cool. Oh, why don't you put that as a background?
Yeah, because I got here. It used to be considered a continent, but it's not an island. But when everything settled down, it became an island.
Mm-hmm. It broke off it broke off when Lemuria went under, right?
Not necessarily broke off,
waters?
buried with the water. The water was displaced. And you were saying something in your presentation that one of the lakes, the craters, had been drying up. It's just taken this long for it to lose the water that was put in it.
Wow.
That water is from the flood.
Wow. It was a freshwater lake, though.
Doesn't matter.
Still, well, okay.
Got it from somewhere.
Interesting.
So, but they said that was part of it. It makes me wonder, okay, I should say yes. Like, yeah, okay. I was just checking what I saw as being questions. You've already got them. Anything else?
Let me see.
I just found it fascinating that it was that long ago. And when they showed me what happened
Wait a
to
minute. That was one of my questions was that long ago. How long ago did this happen? Can you ask, please?
It was, like I said, it was there before Lemuria. Lemuria were visitors.
How many thousands of years ago?
Oh, I wouldn't even really know. I don't usually do in numbers. Let's see.
See if they'll tell you, though. I'd really like to know. Maybe they know how Lemuria was.
It was one of the first civilizations that they helped colonize, that the aliens helped colonize on Earth.
That's interesting. I wonder if it was them and they're Aborigines in Australia. Because they are one of the first people.
Yes. They're saying yes. In fact, one of the words that came to my mind was indigenous. So they've been around a long, long time, but they were more, because of the Lemurian and alien influence, they had more civilization.
Places, right. Places that didn't. That makes so much sense.
Yeah, because they came in and they had, people coming in and out all the time. And it was a very, it was a bread basket area. They could raise most anything. They had, I see green fields all over the place.
Wow, lovely.
Very productive. People were not hungry, but they had to walk a long ways. But then again, they were taller, so it didn't take them as long.
10 of our strides to one of theirs.
Something like that, yes, because they were big walkers. Moving the statues wasn't hard for them, but like I said, they had technical knowledge as well as being so big.
Mm-hmm.
But I was so surprised when they were showing me that they had all these statues, and then all of a sudden it was all like water covering everything. And I'm going, whoa. I mean, instant.
So, they had to be in the same vicinity as Lemuria, right? They had, because they're in the Pacific Islands like that.
Yeah, and
they had to be close to Lemuria, and when it sank, I can imagine how fast it would have been. Yeah, for sure. It would have been really quick.
It was, and like I said, most people didn't escape. Those who were really inland that could keep going and and get on a boat and keep going, they survived. Right. But anybody close to where the statues were, It was
They were
done.
gone. Yeah, that makes sense. Mary's
Oh, really?
pointing out skeleton of giants have been found by archaeologists, many in North America. Yeah, in Arizona, Utah. I'm trying to think where, I think California, all over the United States, they have found skeletons, giants. They
Yeah.
just, if it doesn't fit their narrative, you're not allowed to know about it. It's so bizarre.
They only show up when they want them to show up.
Mhm.
Because
Exactly.
if they don't want us to know about them, they move them to a different dimension.
Mhm. True. That's very true.
It's
Anybody
kind
have
of
any
like,
more questions out there in the chat? She'll be happy to answer any other questions. And, please hit the like button and subscribe if you don't mind, and maybe share this with any of your friends that might find it interesting. And on Saturday night, we have Deb H. Purple Elephant. She's gonna join us, and we're gonna talk about ley lines. We'll probably do some card reading, but I know we're gonna talk about ley lines as well, and that's always an interesting subject, and you know quite a bit about it, don't you, Heather?
I did a lot of work on them in Denver.
With ley lines and the earth
Had
grid.
it nerve-wracking.
Mainly
The whole building is going like this. I'm going, nobody else is feeling the shake.
There you go. So we're it's not just ley lines we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about the whole grid around the planet and
Yeah.
things that are going on with the grid. So that'll be an interesting show too.
Okay.
Heather, let's see. I wanted to know how old it was. I wanted to know what type of aliens were involved. And I think you answered my question. Did the Moai hold the energy still? I think that's really
They
amazing.
do. They do. They do still hold the energy. And like I said, some of it is because of their being underwater and water having so much energy in it. Some of it was that.
Particularly salt water for transmitting energy.
Yeah. But then again, look where they were to the ocean.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Absolutely.
Those
Yes.
there that were along the edge there,
I
ocean
think Josh
behind
was
us.
asking you if you're visiting there right now. I'm hoping that's what he means is, are you yes, she is remote viewing right now.
Yeah. Anytime I need to go back and look,
Wait a
I
minute,
just
Mary
go look.
Starshine had a question, and I think I missed it.
Where is it?
Hang on a minute. Well, it's not on subject, that's why I didn't start, but we've got time. She'd like to know, did the Star Nations play in the recent Middle East I can't say any. Did they have anything to do with the Middle East ceasefire? Any of our Star Nations, were they helping out?
They did, but not an active part. In other words, they're back behind everybody. Those who they could communicate to were influenced by what they heard. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Okay. They were kind of like
Okay.
silent partners.
Using their love and light to influence a positive outcome is what I'm getting.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
That's what I got.
Yeah.
Okay.
It goes
Wow,
up, same
Heather,
thing.
thank you. Yeah.
No, thank you for being here.
And thanks everybody for your questions. Do you have any more questions regarding Easter Island or Rapa Nui? I love the name Rapa Nui. It's so much more interesting than the English version of Easter Island.
And I love it when you do the background search, because of course I don't look at it. And so when you're reading through that, I'm going, yeah, that jives with this. Yeah, that jives with that. So it's just kind
Okay,
of
can I
like,
ask you a question about that real quick since we still got a little bit of time? Did the warring tribes knock each other's Moai down? Was that a true story? Or were the Moais knocked down by the water from Lemuria?
a little bit of both. Some of it was by the water, but after the water started to recede and other civilizations started to come in to see what was there, some of them knocked them down. says they're not here anymore. It doesn't matter. Boom. They were not exactly.
Okay, so they weren't exactly the stories about the Birdmen and all of that, not necessarily.
Those would be other. They were not the locals.
Okay,
They were people.
this
who
was
came
after
in
after. Okay,
yeah,
after
and
the actual.
and established their own things then. But those who lived there before the flood generally weren't there. Most of those who made it went to a different, we consider different area.
Okay.
Where there were maybe.
So the Moai are actually a lot older than what the archaeologists think they are.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
They just don't know it. They haven't found the proof.
Yeah. Wow, fascinating.
Yeah, they've been there they were there for a really, really long time. And there are descendants of them, but they're not in that area anymore.
Wow.
If everything you knew was destructed, you go somewhere else.
Yeah, no kidding.
So.
All righty. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You guys join us Saturday night, please. Deb H. Purple Elephant will be on. And like I said, we're going to be talking about the grid around the planet. Maybe throw some cards. We'll just have to see what we all feel like that night. Oh, let me take this down.
There we go.
Yeah. Heather, thank you so much for your remote view. I just adore your remote views. They're my favorite part.
Thanks.
And it's always interesting to look up the information about wherever it is you're going to go. Do you know where you're going next? Have you decided?
I'm not sure yet. I may be doing something on some of the outer space ships and what's going on those.
Oh, that would be fascinating too.
So you don't have to worry about it. But I might describe some of the areas, because what they have up there in those ships, they are so huge, and yet they can be smaller, but if they need something, it just grows.
That's pretty cool. Well, I look forward to hearing more about that. Put a show together and let's do it.
Yeah, I'll see what I can.
And how they're helping us.
They are helping in so many different ways, and a lot of it has to do with healing. So
lovely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here tonight. Like I said, please like and subscribe and share our videos with your friends if you can. We really appreciate it. It helps our algorithms. Anyway, I love you. Have a wonderful week, and hopefully we'll
all have a great week.
Saturday. Good night, everyone. Bless you all.